Hey everybody, big rainy day here in Alabama. Again. It's only been 2 weeks of this, 3 weeks of this, a year of this, 5 years. I done lost track. It's been raining for a long time. So I'm in the greenhouse and I thought to myself, well, I've got some junk laying around, some scrap wood and some extra screws. Let's build something. So I've got some transplants, and I've got this all in sequence. You can see the stages of growth coming down. I start them, germinate, move them down. About right here, they start getting fertilized with the first set of true leaves, and then they're potted up and sent out. And this has been a really good, effective method. But what I've got is I've got a bunch of these like onions and different things that are ready to come out, or that will be ready in a couple, maybe 2-3 weeks, to be transplanted. I've also got some stuff that I need to direct seed. So I need a way to make rows. So this year I've decided probably not to use the old earthway seeder that my dad has that I use. It's passed down from his father and father-in-law. It's just a neat little planter, but I almost threw it across the yard last year and busted it into 1,000 million pieces because I got upset. Driving an earthway seeder in a straight row is about as hard as taking a sobriety test after drinking about a fifth of vodka. It's almost impossible, especially in my soil, because with my clay soil here in Alabama, we've got a lot of bumps, a lot of rocks, a lot of twigs, a lot of and there's clay clods. So it doesn't really drive very straight. So yeah, I'm not going to do that this year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a way, and that's today's video, of making nice straight rows on the 30-inch beds that I can seed into or drop transplants into, either one. Now these trays that I use for transplants are my standard tray. And yes, I know they're disposable. I hate that too, but that's just what we got to do money-wise. So they are a little over 2 inches deep. So 2 inches, well, let's see. Well, yeah, no, about 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches would be adequate. So I need my tool, whatever I'm about to make, to go down 2 inches and to be able to fit a 30-inch bed. So you guys probably know from checking out the channel that I love doing things cheap, easy, and as organically as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize scrap wood, scrap screws, and another piece of scrap from a donor. Let me explain. Now you guys may not have known, even though I'm from Lawrence County and went to school at Hatton, I do have a PhD. A posthole digger. Yes, sir. But, unfortunately, my massive manly strength and incredibly big muscles caused me to break this thing last year. So it's down a handle. So I wanted to get a replacement handle anyway. But why would I replace one handle that looks brand new and leave this old moss-covered weird handle in there? Well, I'm not going to. I'm going to use this handle as the handle for my secret garden tool. Alright, first thing you'll need is some scrap lumber cut to 30 inches. And I use this old handle, but you could use any kind of wood to make yourself a little makeshift handle. And I love these little 2-inch by 2-inch by 24-inch little wood stakes from Lowe's. I use them for everything. You'll need a pencil, pen, or some kind of marker. And a good tape measure is very handy. You'll need some kind of saw. I had a jigsaw, so I just used that. And, of course, a good little drill. You could use it for drilling and for screwdriving. Alright, guys, then I used some recycled screws that I had laying around, but you could use anything. Alright, so here's our little scrap piece of 30-inch wood. And I chose 30 inches because it is the size of my beds. Now, this one has a little angle cut in it, but that doesn't even really matter. What I did was I measured out to 30 inches and made a little cut. Alright, now moving on to the little stakes here. What I want to do is I want to cut 5-inch pieces here. And I need 4 wooden pieces to make my little row markers. 5, 10, 15 and 20 inches, and then I cut them as such. Alright, here's the first little piece that I cut off, and you can see I just used it as a template to mark my little angles there to make these things kind of dig into the ground. And there we go. Now we'll cut these up and voila, there we go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down to the halfway point, 15 inches here on this wood, and I'm going to secure my little wood piece there with some screws to the board, and I'm going to pre-drill my holes so that nothing splits. Alright, I've got these kind of pre-drilled. Now I am going to use a larger bit to actually, right there it is, to actually take off a little bit so that I can countersink these screw heads. And there we go, looking good. There's our first little row marker. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, this is the setup that I'm going to use for one central row and also 3 rows on a 30-inch bed. So I'm going to measure 10 inches away from that center mark and do the same thing, and you kind of get this 3-row deal right here that you're seeing. It's 5 inches from the end in case you wondered. Alright, so now I'm going to do a setup for a 4 rows on a 30-inch bed. And for that, we're going to measure out to 3 3/4 inch on each side and make a little mark. And then from that mark towards the center, we're going to do 7.5 inches. And that's going to give us this right here. This is 4 rows on a 30-inch bed. 3 3/4 and then 7.5 between. Alright guys, I'm going to do this right here also. This is 2 rows on a 30-inch bed, and that does have 15 inches between the 2 rows. Alrighty, now here's what I did. Because I'm planting my first bed with mustards, turnips, and onions, I'm going to use the 3 method. So I stuck my extra screw in an extra hole there just to keep it handy, and you can see I've turned the one side. Alright, so here we're going to secure the handle. Now I am going to offset this from the center, maybe 2 or 3 inches, just so I don't screw into another screw. But yeah, so I just attach it like this, and then you can actually, instead of being straight up and down like perpendicular, you can actually angle your handle just a little bit to where you can walk in the pathway and drag it, and it just makes life so much easier. So here we go guys, here's our test run in the living room, and I'm in love. Well guys, you may be excited to watch me use that thing on the 30-inch beds, but I've got about one more video to make, and I'll tell you the reason why. First of all, it's a little bit too wet anyway, so I need to wait for these next 2 or 3 days we have of no rain to let it go ahead and dry up just enough to plant. So hopefully we can plant here in 2 or 3 days. But in the meantime, I do have another video coming out about a cool planter that I'm making that will also help save my back, like this row marker will. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button and that little bell icon. That'll let you know when my videos come out. And probably tomorrow, the next day, I'll have a video of my new special garden cedar. It's going to be like $2 or $3, maybe $4 or $5. So make sure you check that out, and yeah, do that. And then after I make that, I will be planting my first 50-foot bed of late winter, early springish crops. And it's going to be mustard, onions, and probably turnip greens, all companion planted on one 30-inch bed. So it's going to be cool. So hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.